Today we are on the verge of an unprecedented political revolution. A political revolution involving not the rise of China or the decline of the United States or the election of Donald Trump, a much bigger political revolution. And to understand that, what is the dominant story that shapes the world of the early 21st century? At present, most of the power, most of the authority in the world is in the hands of humans, because the dominant story in which most people believe is some version of the humanist story, the story of humanism. And humanism says that the highest authority in the world is the feelings and free will of human beings. If you have a problem in your life, your personal life, or the collective life of a society, then the highest authority that you go to in order to solve the problem, to answer the question, is not God, it's not scriptures, it's not some very wise person. The highest authority you go to is to your own feelings and free choices, and to the feelings and free choices of all people. And this is where you expect to get the answers. So let's look at a few examples. What is humanist politics? It's a political system in which the voter and the feelings of the voter are the highest authority. If, for example, in Britain, they want to know whether Britain should remain a part of the European Union, or whether Britain should leave the European Union, a big question, big political question. So who do they ask? They don't ask God, they don't ask the Pope, they don't ask the Bible, they don't ask the Queen of England, they don't even ask the professors in Oxford and Cambridge, the big universities. No, they go to every British woman and every British man and ask them, what do you feel? Should we leave or should we stay? And I would like to emphasize that the authority is with feelings, not with rationality, not with logic. It's human feelings who are driving politics. But humanist politics is about human feelings. Our feelings are the highest authority. And in feelings, everybody is equal. So you ask the British public, how do you feel about this question? And there is no higher authority than the voter. The slogan of humanist politics is the voter knows best. If the people voted for a particular candidate or party or solution, there is no higher authority. There is no higher authority than the voter in humanist politics. If in politics the slogan is the voter knows best, in economics the same idea encapsulated in the slogan that the customer is always right. There is no authority higher than the customer, and like the voter in politics, also the customer in economics, what is important are the feelings of the customer. Buying things, going to the market to buy things, is an emotional experience. It's not a rational thought process. So how do you decide in a humanist economy what is, say, a good product? Let's say Hyundai wants to produce a new car, the best car in the world. So they bring together all the best experts in physics and chemistry and computer science and psychology, sociology. They bring the best artists, everything you can think about. And they give them 3 years. And all these wise people sit for 3 years and design the perfect car. The Hyundai Perfect. And after 3 years, they produce this car, the Hyundai Perfect, and they send it to car dealeries all over the world. And nobody buys it. The customers don't buy it. What does it mean? Does it mean that the customers are wrong? They don't realize that this is a wonderful car? No. The customer is always right. If the customers didn't buy the car, it means it's not a good car. This is the definition of good and bad in a humanist economy. Whatever the customers want, that's good. Whatever the customers don't want, that's bad. And the customer is always right. There is no authority higher than the customer. And the same principle also affects the world of ethics. What is good and what is bad about human behavior, about morality. So in the past, like in medieval Europe, people say there are objective definitions. God defines what is good and what is bad. The Bible defines what is good and what is bad. We don't care about human feelings. And this is why, for example, in medieval Europe, homosexuality was considered a terrible sin. Why? Because God said so. Because the Bible said so. But then came humanism in the last 2 centuries and said, we don't care about the Bible or about God. We care about human feelings. We care about happiness and suffering. Morality is all about happiness and suffering, about human feelings. And this is why in modern Europe and many other places, homosexuality became accepted. Because the guideline for morality is human feelings and not what some book or what some priest says. Of course, there are conflicts in humanist morality also. What happens if the same thing makes me happy but makes somebody else feel miserable? If I steal somebody's car, then I'm very happy, I have a new car, but that person is very miserable. He lost his car. So how do you weigh the different feelings one against the other? So humanists will say, no, it's not okay to steal. But why is it not okay to steal? Not because the Bible says don't steal. It's because it causes other people or other animals to feel bad. This is why it's wrong. Human feelings or animal feelings are the ultimate source of authority. And finally, it also had a very big impact on the field of education. In the past, when people thought that authority came from God or from the Bible, from Holy Scriptures, then the most important thing about education, the most important purpose of education, was to teach the Holy Book to the students. And everybody had to remember what Jesus said, or what Muhammad said, or what Confucius said, because this was the source of authority. Then with humanism, the whole purpose of education changed. The highest source of authority is now what I feel and what I think. And therefore the highest purpose of humanist education is to teach students how to think for themselves. If you go to a humanist institution, school or university, and you ask the teacher, what are you trying to teach the students, the pupils? Then she will answer, I try to teach history or chemistry or physics, but above all, I try to teach my students to think for themselves. This is the highest goal of humanist education. So this, very briefly, is the worldview or the ideology or the story of humanism that has dominated the world and changed the world in the last century or two. But this story is now being threatened and will probably be replaced very soon by a different story, which will shift the source of authority away from humans. Not back to God, but to a new place, to computer algorithms, to big data algorithms. The threat to humanism doesn't come from some fundamentalist religion or from some dictatorial regime. It comes above all from the laboratories, from the universities, from the AI companies. What science and technology are now telling us is that all these humanist ideas, they're just another fiction. They are not the truth. They are not the scientific truth. The scientific truth is that there is no free will. Science, physics, biology, they know of only two kinds of processes in nature. They know of deterministic processes, and they know about random processes. But randomness is not freedom. There are many things you can't predict about the world because of the randomness. But randomness is not freedom. Science just doesn't know anything in the world which works freely. As for our emotions, our feelings, according to the latest scientific theories, our feelings don't reflect a free will. Our feelings reflect biochemical processes. Inside our body and brain, our feelings are in a way biochemical algorithms that natural selection shaped in order to enable us to make decisions, what to eat, when to run away, and so forth. And that our feelings reflect biochemical processes in our body, then at least theoretically, if you have enough data about a person, especially enough biometric data about what's happening inside the body, if you have enough data about a person and you have enough computing power, you can understand that person better than he or she can understand themselves. You can build a computer algorithm and artificial intelligence which will be able to understand people, to predict their behavior, their choices, and to make decisions for them much better than the decisions that the person can take by himself or by herself. Now, this is a very complicated idea. And now the baboon needs to make a decision, to choose. Do I risk my life for the bananas? Do I run to the bananas and risk that the lion will eat me? Or do I just hide here or run away, give up the bananas and avoid the risk of the lion? This is the kind of question, of problem, that all animals have to solve every day. Most of the decisions that animals have to take every day, really they are based on calculating probabilities. What is the probability that if I run to the bananas, the lion will eat me? Versus the probability that if I don't try to get these bananas, I will die from starvation. The baboon needs to calculate this in order to make the right decision. Now, in order to calculate it, the baboon first needs to gather a lot of information. Information about the bananas. How far are the bananas? How many bananas? 2 or 5 or 10? Are they big or small? Are they green or ripe? 2 small green bananas. It's a very different situation than 10 large ripe bananas. The baboon also needs information about the lion. How far is the lion? How fast the lion can run? Is the lion big or small? Is it asleep or awake? He needs to take all these pieces of information and within a split second, calculate the probabilities. How does the baboon do it? And baboons do it every single day of their lives. He doesn't take out a pen and paper and calculator and starts making calculations. No. The entire body and brain of the baboon is the calculator that natural selection shaped in order to make the right calculations and reach the right decision. Emotions and feelings are not some metaphysical quality that God gave only Homo sapiens in order to write poetry and appreciate music. No, they are what natural selection shaped in all animals in order to solve problems of survival. If the chances are good, the baboon will feel courageous. The emotion of courage will appear, the baboon will puff up, his chest will inflate, his hair will stand, and he will run to the bananas. If the calculation is that chances are not good at all, this will also appear not as a number, but as an emotion. This is what emotions are. It will be the emotion of fear and the feelings of baboons and of humans. And they are the product of very fast biochemical processes and calculations in our body. Now, until today, even though this was true for millions of years, until today, this understanding that human feelings don't reflect a free will, they reflect a process of calculation, of biochemical calculations in their body. This understanding made very little difference to how we actually behave in the world. And also, it made very little difference to the ideology of humanism. Because until today, nobody had the biological knowledge and the computing power necessary in order to understand what was happening inside the body of a baboon or a human as we make decisions and as we feel things. If in the Middle Ages, let's say the Catholic Church, the Inquisition, followed you around, gathered information on you, and tried to understand you, or if in the 20th century, a secret service like the Soviet KGB followed you around every day and collected information on you, still, they were not able to understand what was happening inside you. They were not able to understand your feelings, your desires, your choices. Why? Because the church and the KGB, they did not have the biological knowledge necessary to understand our bodies and brains, and they did not have the computing power to analyze these immense amounts of data. To understand a human being, you need to collect billions of bits of data and analyze them. And nobody in the past had the necessary computing power. So until today, humanism still made very good sense. When humanism came to people and said, don't listen to the church, don't listen to the Bible, don't listen to the KGB, don't listen to the Communist Party, listen to your feelings, this was very good advice. Because your feelings were the outcome of the most sophisticated decision-making machine in the world, your body. Whereas the Bible just reflected the biases and opinions of a few priests in ancient Jerusalem. So it was very good advice to listen to your feelings.